today we're going to be looking at the grows process, which is an internal process that we've developed over the course of the last few years to help companies grow with an experiment-driven approach. And before you can actually jump into this process, there's a few prerequisites that need to be filled out. First of all, we have the business model canvas. Don't jump into the grows process unless you have a business model canvas that's validated at around 80%. The second thing linked to the business model canvas is the value proposition canvas. You need to be sure that your business, product or service has a clear pain that it's solving and the right solution for that pain. We call that problem-solution fit. Third of all, you need a clear understanding of who your segments are or who your personas are. Who are you targeting specifically in the market to solve that pain for? Now that we've got the prerequisites covered, we can jump into the actual grows process. Now at the very top of the process, we have something called the pirate funnel. Now, the pirate funnel was developed by Dave McClure of 500 Startups, and it's a beautiful KPI framework that can be used for almost any type of business. The pirate funnel basically says that every customer segment goes through 6 different steps on his customer journey. So the first part is called awareness, and it's asking yourself, how do we get people to visit our website? Second, you have acquisition. Of those people visiting your page, your landing page, your app page, how many are doing that first specific action that is required from users? The third part of the funnel is activation. What is our wow moment? How do we know that the user had a great first user experience and that he'll actually come back to our product? Now, the fourth part of the funnel is retention. How can I make sure that users keep coming back? And what is retention for me? Is it daily retention, weekly retention, monthly retention? In some cases, when you're selling mortgages, maybe it's once every 10 years. The fifth part of the funnel is referral. Do we have organic virality? For example, a messaging app has organic natural virality. I can't use the app if I'm not inviting other people. But for other products or services, there is no incentive built into the product to invite other people. Then we talk about artificial virality. And then finally, there's revenue. How are we monetizing? What's our business model? And even though it's at the bottom, that doesn't mean that it's the least important part of the funnel. Sometimes it's the part of the funnel that you want to optimize first. Now, the way that we've built this pirate funnel template is that we've put 2 specific columns. The first column, I want you to ask yourself, what does each part of the funnel mean for my business? The second column is a little bit more complicated. This is what we call being data-driven. For each part of the funnel, what is the specific metric that I can track? Now that we've done the pirate funnel, we can look into the second step, which is what we call the OMTM. OMTM is short for the one metric that matters. And this is a notion that was brought up in Alistair Crowell and Ben Yoskovitz's book, Lean Analytics, which is I believe, one of the best business books ever written. Now, the point of the OMTM, the one metric that matters, is that at any stage of development of a company or of a project or of a product, there's actually one metric that matters more than all other metrics. And that's the metric that you should focus on obsessively. So now we can actually jump into the grows process. The reason why it's called the grows process is because there's 5 steps. Now, the first step is G, gather ideas. It's important because this is where you're going to create a huge backlog of every idea that you and your company has on how to improve this one metric. We like to use a technique called mindstorming, where basically everybody comes up with ideas separately, and then during a meeting or online, we bring them all together. The second part is R, for ranking those ideas, prioritizing them. To do that, we use prioritization frameworks. They allow you to, in a semi-scientific way, allocate scores to each idea, so we find out which one has the highest score and is the one that we want to start experimenting with right now. The third part is O, for outlining an experiment design. That's basically the part where we take our highest ranked ideas and we design an experiment which we'll execute to verify whether that was a great idea or just a really bad one. Now, to outline an experiment, we use an experiment sheet. This experiment sheet has 4 parts: what you believe, how you will verify it, what you will measure, and what conditions need to be met to say whether you were right or wrong with your assumption. The next part of the process is the W. It's the work, execute, get shit done. But this is really the part where you see the difference between that highly competitive company or team and the one that comes back 2 weeks later with excuses. The last part of the growth loop is actually one of the most important, but it's one of the ones where people spend the least time. It's the S, to study the results of your experiment. Now what tends to happen is we look at the hard quantitative data of our experiment, but what's really important is to look at the qualitative reasons why an experiment won or failed. This is how we can learn more about our customers and our product and how we can make our next experiments even stronger. And the next step is basically the first step, so it's going back to the G. It's running through all of these growth loops again and again and again, grows, until you finally hit that big win. And what people call a growth hack or a huge win, it's usually running through as many experiments as possible until we find something beautiful that works perfectly. We call that the golden nugget, we call it the silver bullet, we call it the growth hack. It's that beautiful moment when you found a perfectly working playbook that will help your company grow.